Hey everybody, it's Tommy Castro here. I'm just fooling around with my gear and just tightening things up. And I thought, hey, what the heck? I'll give you guys a little rundown. Um, See how do I get into this? You know, back in the day, a lot of you might be aware of this, but that old Super Reverb there and me, were inseparable. We played thousands of shows together, and it was just me plugging a Strat, this old Strat, straight into that Super Reverb, and that worked just fine for a long time. And I started to get bored and wanting to try different things. And man, I've gone through a bunch of amps, a bunch of guitars, and a bunch of little doodads and pedals and effects and things like that. And so, anyway, as it turns out, the way we travel, sometimes by plane, sometimes by bus, I have had to find a way to try to have a consistent sound, and especially because I use in-ear monitors. And it's really hard to get a good sound on the guitar in there. So once I get a good sound, I want it to be the same everywhere I go. And so that's why I moved into using one of these, they call them Pedalboard amps. It's got tubes and solid state circuitry in it. It's got something called speaker simulator. So what I'm listening to in my in-ears are a speaker simulator coming out of this amp. It's got an effects loop in the back, and so that means I can run my delay and my tremolo through the effects loop. There's good reasons for that. I mean, you want to run your drives directly into the amp, but when you mix the drives and the delays and those kind of modular things, it can get real muddy. It's hard to control the amount of delay you're using. When you use the effects loop in the back of that amp, like many amps have, I prefer it that way anyway. And that was taught to me by one of my good friends who helps me with this kind of stuff, Tal Morris. He's the one that taught me that. He goes, "No, you don't want to run all of those things in a row. If you have an effects loop, use it." So there's that. So that little Fender amp underneath there, I'm just using the speaker. I'm not using the amp. And on the road, I have a Lux Tone with 112 in it. I use that for my speaker. And if we fly somewhere, I usually get what they call backline. They provide an amp for me, and it's usually a Fender Deluxe. So, having said all of that, and that's how I control my in-ear monitor sound. And it's not saving my hearing because I like it loud. I never got accustomed to playing at a low volume. All those nights playing at the saloon in the Grant and Green and with my Super on 10. It's just you get used to a loud volume. Anyway, I'm gonna put this phone on a stand here so I don't have to keep holding it. And we'll fool around with these pedals. So the tremolo kind of speaks for itself. It's like that song I do called Ride. And then the delay, just got a basic slapback, they call it. Just to add some of the sound of the delay, makes it a little bit wider, bigger, and I don't like the sound of a dry guitar, so I use that slapback for that. And anyway, I've got a couple of songs where I have these presets, and that's why I use this big giant delay pedal, because I want to be able to just go, time to play that song, bam. And so that's just for she wanted to give it to me. So then there's a song I need the delay for called Shaking the Hard Times Blues. And settings that I have programmed in. I'm looking to, find a smaller version of this, which would give me those presets, but so far I haven't found one. Now, this is my tuner, of course. And so coming out of the amp goes right into this tuner. And these two are running through the effects loop. And then I just started experimenting around with a compressor, trying to get a smoother sound out of my guitar from my in-ear monitors. It could stay clean. That's without anything. But with this, it actually boosts the volume. I didn't know that. And then if I wanted to get a little bit more, a little bigger sound. Be good to like just play some rock and roll. So, still on the clean side. Then there's this I just got from my friend Tal. That's a little bit tougher sounding. And you can actually use these two together if you really want to get crazy. Anyway, I gotta adjust the volumes of these things and find the exact settings that I want to use. But that's basically what's going on here. Oh yeah, and I'm using a wireless rig, so I can walk around the stage without tripping over myself. Anyway, probably a little too much information, but there you go.